darkness. So I've played this bit before, only to tutorial to know the basics, and because it feels rather strange to play this kind of game on console. So metal waves roll over the floor below, sending vibrations through the soles of your boots. Nothing else to interact with except this.
Go.
Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light and needs to be filled. Yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. You trace your fingers over the slippery overlapping scales that spiral up. From the bottom of the bowl, the sharp-toothed rim plucks at your skin. It's going to be tricky to move this bowl without slicing your fingers on the edge. You might have to put some effort into it. Reflected light streaks across the surface of the bowl as another droplet falls from the ceiling. You might try to move it. This is the first tutorial message. You've encountered your first task. You have 3 stat pools. Might, speed and intellect that you can spend to increase your chances of success. This is called using effort. To more easily move the ball in front of you, use the left stick to spend might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task. In Torment, failure often results in interesting outcomes. Okay, so by using 1 effort, there is 60% of success, 2 effort 80, and 3 effort 100% chance. Success! You carefully take hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth on the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over the glowing pool of fallen light. And it fills. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you have begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. How could someone survive this fall? Although that was my thought when I first played the tutorial.
All right.
That was the first mystery. As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell, a bubble of stale air your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves, but this body is an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seemed to be wandering from the task at hand. He is a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires and antennas. He believes it can get two of you through the corroded door, but he is merely staring at it. Perhaps he has lost faith in his invention, but that is hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed, it must proceed. So deceive him by telling him that you have heard sounds of pursuit. Threaten him until he returns to the task at hand. This is taking too long. Cast a spell on esotery to fix the device yourself. Well, I did deceive him. Your words echo clearly and he looks up surprised. As you cut through his indecisive daze, he grimaces and says, "Alright, we'll be through the door before they catch up." His fingers make minute adjustments to the knobs and blinking levers of the device, and the still air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links the water-bordered cells in the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you are on the water again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar artifact. You need it to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal, rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal. An iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. Run. You can come back. You can come back for it. They won't be able to protect it forever. Disable the sonar pulse. Use the device to stop them. One of the ciphers in your belt. Well, the thing is important, so we need to have it now. You run urgent fingers over the devices, fastened to your waist, a fog rising in your mind. A few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin to synth steel, or the surrounding water to boiling wax. Hardly ideal. Finally, you find a small silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of a nearby alcove. The sphere whirls and unfolds into a spiraling vortex. The sphere at its center speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they, too, are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that most alarms are going off in the distance. The memory begins to fade, as if you were being drawn backward through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There is something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. Another path opens, and I can move, finally. I can expect things, yay. The light around the door's frame dims and flares like a roaring fire in a high wind. No sign or symbol tells you what might be behind this enormous door. A dull chill radiates from its bronzed, segmented surface, and a thick metal wheel seems frozen into place. place. Countless scratches and wounds mark the surface of this door. Someone made a great effort to get inside, to no avail. This ominous. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into a cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. You are self-aware. Humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were, desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we found? Draw her attention to the hidden details that your more experienced eyes can clearly see. Use your charm to persuade her of the merits of the site and to remind her of the time constraints. Convince her with the wisdom of your superior intellect. I chose the first. You shade your eyes against the bright sun that you can point out the thin bands radiating out from the metallic disc. How the energy from those bands affects the local fauna, suggesting an enormous source of prior world energy. She thinks deeply. It's geologically sound. If you run the sounding samples and checked its strata, no major caverns or weaknesses showed up on your resonance scans. She waits for your affirmation and says, "Alright, I'm convinced." The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend into the plateau to examine the open grounds. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with inhuman speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Use the Numenera integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. Examine the construct for mechanical faults. Look for a deeper solution. Perhaps is an effect of the metallic disc itself. Examine the construct for mechanical faults. Everything resolves into sharp focus, and you can see that the servitor's rear actuators are corrupted. You dig into the construct's back. It seems not to mind as long as you don't interfere with its task. Deftly you reset the actuators and see energy spark into disused portions of the construct's brain. The construct resumes its work, and this time it listens when you speak to it. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the side of your new shelter. The image freezes, then fades, and you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind, block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memories. Hurts. And once more there's something else. Hairs lift, one by one, on the back of your neck. Something beyond this door can sense what you are doing and is hunting you. It's creepy. And another path opens.
I'm going.
A vision of a city springs up around you. Your city, in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She is too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. Trade blows with the giant. You can handle it, for at least a strike or two. Duck under the giant's swing and attack before he can strike. Fight defensively and figure out who presents the greater threat. I choose the third. The memory seems crystal clear. The giant is menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of his companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can carve matter at the molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. If you were to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She is stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he is out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on your ward. She is certainly not expecting you to dive between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive your dagger up under her chin. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin her around. The weapon slashes into the giant and he topples, bisected. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. Roll yourself against the door and knock them to the ground. Crack the door open to sneak past them, or charge through them, counting your defenses to protect you. I so wanted to choose this, but I have a war to protect, so I need to be more stealthy. You press yourself against the gleaming door, easing it open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly, the sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the blood-stained hall. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaiming memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. The tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. Mirror, mirror on the wall,